Hi everyone, this is Real World Audio, and I'm following up on a request from my subscriber 29 about Hammond output transformers. So at some parts of the world, you will be able to get to Hammond transformers more easily than Edcors. And there is the question is that which Hammond should you get, and what's the difference between Hammond and Edcor, and what can I recommend, what shall you use. And when you look at Hammond, it has the budget series and the premium series. So the budget series of the Hammond single-ended output transformers is the 125 series. And as you see, there's several of them. There's the A, B, C, D, E series. And the difference between them is that the A is the smallest. You see, that's a 3-watt transformer, and the E, it goes up to 15 watt. So like we are going from 3 to 15 watt. It gets bigger, 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 and a little bit more expensive at every step. So how can I recommend it? So we will be building a Darling amp. So if you build the 2-tube version per channel, then it will be 1.5 watts. If you build the 1-tube version, it will be 0.75 watts. So you would think that, okay, 0.75 or 1.5, I will get the 3-watt iron. I'm saying do not. Because if you are getting that, then you will be getting really poor quality sound. And that's because the budget series has a quite limited frequency range, quite limited bass response, limited inductance, and because of that the sound is very much compromised when you use it as the specifications state. So what you need to do is that for our purposes use something which is the 15 watt rated, and actually for some reason it reached the 125E here, and that's the old version, so you should be looking for the 125 ESE. So let me just do another search. 125 ESE. Okay, here we got. So this is the Hammond 125 ESE, and this is the output transformer that I recommend. And as you see, the price for this is $66 per transformer. So what's the difference between this and the Edcors? As you remember, the medium size Edcor was $30-something each, and here this cost twice as much. And yes, it's much bigger than the Edcor, and actually size does matter for output transformers. It means that it can use it has much bigger magnetic potential, so it has much bigger headroom, and that has been my experience between Hammond and Edcor of similar categories, is that the Hammonds have a, I would say, like a bigger sound, a richer sound, and the Edcors sound generally more dynamic. So if you have a choice to make between Hammond and Edcor, then Hammond has a more relaxed, more fuller sound, and Edcor has a more dynamic, more punchy, faster sound. Or at least that has been my experience in the applications I have used them. So here what we have, let's open the data sheet for the Hammond 125 ESE, and it says that, look at that, frequency response 100 Hz to 15 kHz, plus minus 1 dB. and that might be pretty much disappointing. And you see, use the 1600 series if you want 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz response. So that series uses a much bigger output transformer and also at a much higher price. And I can tell you, if you want an amplifier that has a sound comparable to a full-blown single-ended triode amp that you can buy for a few $1,000s, then this is the iron, that's the series that I recommend. However, in our case, we will be able to use this transformer for much better result than a lowly 100 hertz. And that's because that 100 hertz is specified for a 10K primary impedance. And what we will be using it for, it will be 5K primary impedance. So then this iron will work as, instead of 10K to 32 ohms, it will work as 5K to 16 ohms. So then basically when we are loading it as a 5K load, then the 32 ohm tap, you connect a 16 ohm loudspeaker, or you connect an 8 ohm loudspeaker to the 16 ohm tap. And in that situation, because you are using a lower load, the inductance of your output transformer gives you a much better frequency response. And I have been using this output transformer, the 125E SE. Actually, we have been all using that for our darlings in 4 amplifiers. And I can tell you that the bass response easily goes down to 30 hertz. So the 30 hertz is clearly there, and the amp has excellent bass. I also have to add that it has excellent bass if your bass taste is for natural sound. That is, you are using acoustic unprocessed music as your main listening material. For example, all sorts of classical music. When you listen to classical music, that is recorded with extremely minimal processing. In most of the cases, they don't mess with the EQ at all. They just play with the level, and of course they also add compression to it, which is not the best case scenario, but there is no heavy EQing for the bass and top end. If you listen to jazz and you listen to pop, rock, especially like pop and rock, it has been EQ'd to hell and back. So if you listen to that and you have a preamp that doesn't have tone control, then in many cases you will find that the bass response is lacking, but that's not the fault of the amp. That's because your music needs very heavy processing from your amplifier, and this is an amplifier that will do exactly zero processing for you. So if you need a processor, then get something else. But if you want something that shows you the music accurately in its natural unprocessed format, then this output transformer will do that to you on a budget. So once again, Hammond 125E SE. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope this recommendation helps you. I will show you later on my advice on how to improve this output transformer quite a bit to get more out of it than what it's capable to provide. And I've been happy with it, but I also know that if you go for the bigger series, which when I built that amp was really out of my affordability price range, and I know that it's probably out of the price range of many who are working on their first DIY project, and you don't want to spend too much on it because you have no clue yet how it will turn out. But if you are already building this project because you want to build a statement amplifier, then the 1600 series is the that's the minimum that you need to get for your project. Or you can get the CXSE Edcor as well, which is also the same size iron as the 1600 series. So that is a 25-30 watt size iron, which means about 10 pounds. So those are 9-10 pounds transformers. Incidentally, the big Hashimoto that I recommend, the 30 watt one, that's also the exact same weight, 10 pounds. So that's where you get that full 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz and beyond extension. And what else? Why would you want to have the big iron compared to this iron? What's the difference between them? The difference is that when you go for the 10 pound weighing iron versus this iron which weighs, I think the ESC weighs something like 3 pounds. Let's see. Does it say ESE? Doesn't. Oh, there's a weight. There you go. 3 pounds. So when it weighs 3 pounds, you get a decent sound from it. But when you have a transformer that weighs like 3 times as much, your amplifiers will sound as if it was a much bigger amplifier. And my last message in this video for you is that if you want your tube amplifier to sound like a big amp, then use a big transformer, and that's correct. The amplifier that has 100 watts output does not sound so big and powerful because it's 100 watts, but because it uses a big output transformer. If you use the same size output transformer for a 1 watt amplifier, that amp will sound just as big and powerful as a 100 watt amplifier. Of course, the 100 watt amp will be able to play louder, quite a bit louder. But if you are listening to them at a medium or average listening volume, both will sound just as big. So thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Bye bye.